I was told, quote, "I can't believe the audience applauds that loud for you."
Did it feel like it got easier ever?
Not saying I was the most prepared talent-wise, but I was ready to make my dreams come true.
Were you a munchkin?
And she was like, "Oh, he wants to like do theater." And I'm like, no, I want to be Annie.
You just could sing as well? You just came out of the womb singing?
2017 was the first time I booked. I did auditions 7 times. But
Had you taken a tap class though? I'm like kind of annoyed for all the people in your high school.
I had an experience with a contract in my life where that was the tactic, was fear. I actually left that contract because I felt so disrespected. And on top of that, 100% developed an eating disorder. That's my little shade right there. I have seen Wicked on stage times.
Do you want to think about how much money that is in tickets?
Maybe
we shouldn't think about that. Hindsight now, what did we learn from that?
What we learned, kids, is that you ask for a...
Hello, welcome back. I wanted to take a quick moment to thank you so much for being here. Your support literally means way more than you will ever know. And good news, if you want to keep continuing to support the show, subscribing is completely free and it takes literally 3 seconds. This is the easiest way to support so we can keep growing, bringing in those amazing guests and just making the show better and better and better. So if you haven't yet, take a quick moment, subscribe below, and thank you so much. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome back, you guys, to Kicking It Real. I'm here with Conor, a Coastal Carolina grad and working equity actor. He's performed at multiple regional theaters all the way to leading roles, swinging, dance captaining at Disney Cruise Line. While currently performing in one of their biggest musical productions, he also manages to find time to be a content creator, and his Wicked super fandom is basically its own bit at this point. So, Conor, welcome to Kicking It Real.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here. We're going to just warm it up right away. What have you been kicking it with lately?
I have been kicking it with, not theater related, it is the Heated Rivalry book series. That there is the TV series on HBO, but they're based off books, and I have been eating them up so fast.
I would imagine on a ship you have a lot of time to read. Could you enlighten me what it's about, though? Because unfortunately, I don't read or TV well.
That's okay. And yeah, on a ship, there is so much downtime, but it's like rom-com-y, gay hockey people. So like hockey, I don't know what that is, but I'm like, okay, sports, it's like, pretty hockey people, but it's a little like steamy, but it is really cute and like romantic. I truly got this serious. I was like, oh, I have 7 months on a ship. This will take me the whole time. And I have read all of them. And I'm like, oh no.
The last time that I've gotten into a series like that, I think I was 10 years old and it was Harry Potter. So it's really nice when you could find something like that.
I think too, it's like on a ship, there's time. But like if I'm in the city, I just feel like I'm always so busy that I don't find time to like sit and read, which is not great. But here I'm like, I might as well take advantage of all this downtime.
I didn't even think about that part of being on a ship, that like lack of pressure to be doing stuff all the time.
There's literally nothing to do. In my free time, I do that. But instead of scrolling on my phone in the dressing room, I've been reading memoirs in the dressing room, like pre-show.
On your phone or?
Yeah, I'll buy like a memoir and read it in the dressing room. I'm looking at them. I already read 3 of them, so.
Do you feel smarter with all this reading instead of scrolling?
I am a genius now. I'm so smart.
What have you kicking to the curb?
And this is like other people and also me. In the industry, the people who like, they can't bridge the gap between professionalism and also having fun. Which it's also me at just being like, just not getting annoyed by them. But I just think we can do what we do. We can perform and like do the job, do it well, but also have a sense of humor and have a sense of like levity about us. Cause I'd rather work with people who I'm like, wow, you're so good, but also you're really chill to be around. And the people, I don't do the fake people very well.
The mask of like thinking you have to be something, which I've talked to a lot of people. It's about the idea of anxious, desperate energy, maybe more so of like, oh, like I have to like be perfect and I have to be on, but then it like often does translate into crazy and like not fun, because I always am like at the end of the day, like I would say for like my show, I'd be like, it's a Christmas show, it's not that deep, or like it's a Disney show, it's not that deep, like it's gonna be okay.
I say it all the time. I'm like, you could even be doing, I don't know, some deep show up. Like we are performing at the end of the day. And we're just, I guess, even if I wasn't in theater, I'm like, you can do your job, do it well, but like be a cool person. Unless you're just inherently not a cool person, then I don't know what to tell you, but whatever.
Then it's just like a whole separate issue. I'm always like, as long like most of us, unless you're a surgeon, or maybe a doctor in general, like it's not life or death. Like it's gonna be okay.
I think it's gonna be
Again, that's why I
okay.
would never be a surgeon. Yeah, we'll be okay.
With all my reading, I'm like maybe could be a surgeon now. Yeah.
Okay, well now I'm really inspired. I'm gonna make you go back all the way to little Connor days. But talk to us about your exposure to dance and theater growing up, and if there was a certain time or a moment that you were like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life.
Like you mentioned, my love for Wicked, that started because my earliest memories have been when I watched The Wizard of Oz, and I was hooked on The Wizard of Oz, but I also think I was hooked on musical theater. I just loved it. I thought it was magical. My grandparents and my parents took me to see my first Broadway show, 1997, Annie, which, fun fact, that was a revival technically, and Sutton Foster played the star to be. Because years ago, my grandparents found that playbill. So I was 4, and my mom tells me the story that I turned to her and I was like, "I wanna be Annie." And she was like, "Oh, he wants to, like, do theater." And I'm like, "No, no, no, I want to be Annie."
It's all coming full circle.
Like, in my young years, I just, it was a lot of watching, like, TV musicals and the Disney movies, but it wasn't until I was 10 where I did my first performance. So, the high school I went to they needed kids for The Wizard of Oz, full circle, and I was a munchkin, and I already was bit by the theater bug, but that was like, "Oh, okay, this is what I'm doing." And then from 10 years old, it was all guns blazing, 24/7 musical theater, and I have not stopped.
So did you ever take any dance classes or like singing, acting classes, or was it just by starting to get involved in the theaters?
It was mainly just the theater. So I was lucky where I grew up in Maryland. My high school had a fantastic theater department. That's why I chose to go there. But even before that, I was doing shows at all the community theaters. We had like 3 or 4, and I would be doing like multiple shows at a time, like crazy. Um, but I never took like formal lessons. I could sing and then like I just could like repeat movement. But thankfully one of the theaters was a dance theater. So we would do a Halloween themed show that had all different dance in it. And there was like a plot loose plot. And then they would do Nutcracker, and then we do a spring dance show, kind of like the Halloween, where it was a fairy tale with various dance. So I did those shows, and kind of that was my training of learning from different choreographers, learning different styles of dance, and then just kind of regurgitating it. And I think I just had the natural ability to mimic, and my body could move. Don't know where it came from, but that was kind of my training until I got to college, which is
Honestly,
weird.
crazy impressive. But also, if you were doing multiple shows at a time, how would you literally have time to take class, I guess?
Right. I even look back at my like growing up childhood. I'm like, I don't know how I did this. Like, because there would be like overlaps of like I'd be rehearsing a show and open it. And while opening that show, I'd be in rehearsals for another show. I don't know how I did it. And now I'm like tired if I wake up. I'm like, I need a nap.
No, like literally, I'm like, as soon as my eyes open, I'm like, I need my coffee right now. Like that
Hmm.
just to start breathing. I think about that a lot too, just in high school in general. But I mean, for you though, it really probably prepared you way more for the real world of like having to just constantly be learning. But you said you did the Nutcracker, like the ballet Nutcracker.
Hmm. Yes. I was like a little kid. So I was like Fritz and like
Okay.
did
Oh,
little.
because a little more of an acting role. Yeah.
Right. I wasn't doing like full on the Cavalier.
I don't know why that's like funny to think about a kid doing that with no training.
Like,
Just you just could sing as well. You just could came out of the
I
womb
could,
singing.
I could just sing. Like in middle school, I think we are like, okay, then we knew some voice teachers. So I did start taking voice lessons. This was the time, of course, I was being picked on for doing shows. And my parents were like, do you want to take dance class? And not that anyone would know, but I was feeling self conscious. And I was like, no, I'm just going to stick to doing like my shows. Like I'm good with that. But something about being in dance class, it was like, I don't want to be made fun of more. Now I look back, I'm like, "Oh, I should have done that," but I mean, it's okay now.
Me with singing, if that helps, for no reason because no one was making fun of me probably except myself for singing lessons, but I took like a few and I everyone always told me like I was pretty good for not having anything,
Okay.
but I still was like, I was so embarrassed. Again, hindsight, where it's like, man, if I would have actually taken singing seriously, I wonder where I could be in life. But that's okay. You went to school for dance, or not dance, but musical theater, performing. What
Yes.
did your program actually offer? Like, what did the curriculum look like? And then what was that like going from just doing shows to like taking class?
It was wild because, like, this was the first time I was in, like, oh, I'm taking acting class. I mean, I had voice lessons, but, like, really, really formal voice lessons and, like, formal dance training, which was weird because I loved it, but I was like, "I just wanna do it. I just wanna do the show. I just wanna be on stage." Our program was kind of like all the rest, the 4 years of acting training and, like, the different types and, like, movement class and weekly voice lessons with, like, the music faculty. But I will say my program wasn't the heaviest on dance, which is why originally I didn't really want to go there in the first place because I knew I was a good dancer and I wanted to get really good. We kind of only had 2 levels of dance. Freshman year, I tested out of top 1 because I was already cast in the main stage show as a freshman. We were doing Anything Goes.
Had you taken
Woman
a tap class though?
also, no. I learned to tap rewind when my
Further
brother
back.
go further back. So when I was just a child prodigy, apparently, my teacher there was a phenomenal tapper. I mean, I had a phenomenal high school theater program, but she wanted to do 42nd Street. And so before they did the show, she had like a month long like tap workshop with people. And so I didn't go to the high school. I just went and I watched her tap and I picked it up so quickly that they just put me in the show. I didn't even go to the school. Never taken a tap
I'm like
class.
kind of annoyed for all the people in your high school right now.
Tap was the one thing because, like, you can't really fake tap. You either make the sounds or you
No.
don't. And I don't know how I just picked it up. Fast forward to college, I was like, I've never taken a tap class. They were like, you're a freak.
They're like,
Test out of
surely you're
tap
lying to
one.
us.
Right? I had phenomenal teachers at my college. How do I say this without sounding? I just tended to be one of the most advanced students. So they would use me a lot to demonstrate things, which was nice. But also, I was like, but I'm not actually phenomenal outside of this little fishbowl we're
Well,
in.
it sounds like you understood the whole idea that you don't want to be the best person in the room, especially in a education setting.
Which brings me to we get to tap 2. And they were like, this is also far too easy for you. We see you as someone who will become like a dance captain or an assistant, which LOL, I did. So they were like, you're going to teach half the class and you're going to teach them a combo that you're going to choreograph. And I was like, cool, fierce, but also I'm not learning anything. It was odd to be.
And you're probably like, I'm also like not really qualified.
No,
to
I
be
was not
teaching this.
qualified at all. I'm like, okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, flat, ball change. Like, let's go.
Okay, I will say, don't take this the wrong way. I will say, not to this degree at all, but like I'm going back in my head to my college dance program, which was dance, not like everything. Some of the guys came trained, like really, really good. And then some of them too, I feel like maybe they just started in high school and then like somehow were just like good. Do you think it's like, yes, a little bit of your natural rhythm and born talent, but do you ever think it's like one of those ignorance is bliss of like you just liked it and did it versus I feel like a lot of girls, especially younger girls, feel that pressure because you're surrounded by like primarily more girls.
So I think so. Yeah. I mean, boys, I think have it a lot easier, unfortunately. But I think it was also like, I'm just, it was like ignorance is bliss, I think.
Yeah, like, okay, well, I love this and I'm just good at it. I feel like maybe dance technique wise, it didn't prepare you super well for the real world. However, I know you had experiences in college in that choreography realm. Could you talk to us a little bit about those experiences and how it helped you post grad?
I was super lucky. One of my professors, his name's Adam Pelty, he was the associate for the first national tour of Billy Elliot back in the day. And so he was teaching at my school, and that's when Billy Elliot became like the rights were available regionally for all like the professional theaters. So like all the big places were doing it, like Algonquin, the Muni, North Carolina Theater, the Fulton. Him and the other associate from like the Broadway company were the only two people that were like legally allowed to set like the show, like the staging, the choreography. And so while I was in college, he was like, "Hey, I'm doing the Algonquin Playhouse premiere of it. I want to bring you on to be my assistant and also be in the show." And I was like, incredible, fierce.
Was
So
it so you
like,
could tap? Just
which is
kidding.
so funny because like for the adults in the show, they only tap in the finale, but like obviously the kids have to tap. I learned a whole different side because before we went to rehearsals, me and him rehearsed for, and another student as well. Her name was Melissa. We learned the whole show, every piece of choreography, staging, everything. My brain was like a swing at that point. So when we got to rehearsals in New York, I could be fully ready to assist him. But please note, I
Mhm.
was a junior going into senior year. Like I am like 20 years old. What am I doing? But
Fake it till you make it.
I think ignorance is bliss. And I was a really good student. I was a very focused person. And he was like, I'm not giving this to you because I can find many assistants. I have people I could call from the Broadway show, but I know you can handle this. And I was like, fierce. And so I did. And I was teaching people choreo. I mean, I had people in the cast who had done the Broadway show who were like, oh, I kind of forget this step that we did 5 years ago. And I'm like, I got you. It did teach me how to be
Heck
that
yeah.
professional because I was still in college. So with people in the industry, I was like, oh, this is how you behave and act. But I also was like, oh, they treated me like, oh, here's this young kid, but he knows what he's doing. So it kind of gave me a sense of like confidence, which is good to be like, oh,
Yeah.
people do trust me to handle stuff. So
Did you feel like going into it you had imposter syndrome, and then once you got that reaction back, you were like, okay,
I
confidence?
going into it, I was like, okay, whatever. But then I got to rehearsals. Like we're rehearsing in New York City, and because I'm such a theater nerd, I'm looking at everyone's resumes, and I'm like, oh my, what am I doing here? And I'm teaching them chore. Oh, okay. So I kind of was like, well, here we go. I got to do it. 5, 6, 7, 8,
It was like
and
too late to start panicking at that point. You're like, well, now I'm already here, so here we
well, I'm
go.
here. I'm like, all right. Thankfully, I had such lovely people who were so kind to me, so I didn't feel nervous because they were like, we want to succeed as much as you do. It was crazy. Like I did that and then I
That's
left
ex-
school senior year for another month to do another production of Billy Elliot. And that time I felt more confident because I had already done it.
that's a
Some of my
really cool experience.
I did my first professional show after my freshman year, Cats. Once again, I was like, what am I doing? I'm not at this level, but I got hired, so here we are. I was kind of the go-getter kid. Like I was always wanting to perform. I was like, I knew everything about the business. And I had been auditioning in the city since I was like 15. My senior year, I left my first semester early. Like people went on Thanksgiving break and I left. I didn't come back to school that semester because I went back to Algonquin Playhouse where I had done Billy Elliot that summer because they were remounting a production of Mary Poppins. They called and they were like, "Can you basically come and do this show? And I know we know you're in school, but can you work it out?" And I was like, "Yep." So I took all my finals that semester like a month early. Once again, whoa, what? How? I don't know. Crazy. I did Mary Poppins. Christmas, Merry Christmas happened. Came back for spring semester for about 3 weeks left for a month to go do another production of Billy Elliot at the North Carolina Theater, where I was also assisting and in the show, and then came back, did senior showcase, and finished senior year. And my professors were like, "We've never had someone leave school to go work, but thankfully, pat on my back, I was a really good student. I always showed up, and but I was like, especially both of those, I was doing schoolwork, like writing papers, and then going and teaching choreography and doing this show. I'm exhausted thinking about it right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, to get that energy back. But I mean, also, what a blessing that it wasn't like a whole semester. So you're like, well, I'm just gone for a little bit. And like, isn't this the whole point of like being at school right now is to work professionally? So it kind of makes
Right.
sense to let you do
And
that
I
and get that experience.
exactly, and they just had never had a student do this, but I think they also allowed it because I was who I was, and I was like, "Don't worry, all my work will be done."
I know every program is different, but I feel like, at least for me, when I was in college, it was like such a bubble of I couldn't even think about the outside real world. Like it was, I was so in it, and not in a good way, of almost too blinders, narrow sighted. Do you think it was just because you had been auditioning in the city since you were 15 and you were close that you didn't get so engulfed in it, or it was because you were teaching classes at your school, maybe?
Crazy. I was dedicated to school. I loved my classes. I loved my friends. I loved doing the shows. But my mind was always like, I'm here for the what's on the other side of it. I was so like goal oriented. I was just not saying I was the most prepared talent wise, but I was ready to make my dreams come true, you know?
Yeah.
I was always on playbill.com. I looked at every audition. I knew what theaters were doing what. I knew when their auditions were happening. I was just that kid. I still am that kid.
That's honestly inspiring. And I think all going back to just you being in New York when you were 20 and being in the room with those type of people, like for anyone listening, I say fake it till you make it as a joke, but it's also most of the time we're the ones kind of holding ourselves back where it's like, again, maybe if you had more information before you were going there, you would have freaked yourself out and been like, I can't do this. But you rose to the occasion, and not saying anyone can do that, but in general, you can like rise to an occasion that you think you're not good enough or like prepared enough for.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I psych myself out more now as an adult than I did like just starting out.
Sometimes knowing things is not good. I was going to ask what your dream role was leaving college, but like I'm feeling that you probably already had something lined up.
I did have something lined up. My first job post school, which full circle moment, I went to the Fulton Theater and I was offered my equity card to do The Wizard of Oz.
Were you a munchkin?
I sure was. I was in the ensemble.
That's so full circle.
They offered me the contract and they said like at the end of it, like the final week, you will become like a member of Actors Equity and get your card. In college, my goal was to be an equity membership candidate, which that program now doesn't exist because I'm so old. I got that and I was like, fierce. And then when I got this, well, one, it was The Wizard of Oz, and I will do that show anywhere. I don't care. It's my favorite thing on earth. But when they offered me my equity card, I was like, this is like a dream come true. But I had talked to some of my professors, and they were like, Connor, we do feel that you are at that level. Like you've worked at these theaters. We see your skill set. So I think, because I could have done the show and just said no, you know, but they were like, no, I think you're ready. And I was like, okay. So I did get guidance. I didn't just like willy-nilly just say yes.
For someone who doesn't know what that looks like, why would you want to say no?
I graduated in 2015. Yikes. So
I'm
at
not
the
far behind
time,
you.
there were like a lot of non-equity tours. You know, you can work at equity theaters without having an equity card and you could have gained that experience. But then on the other side, auditioning in the city becomes so much easier because you can just get into the room and be seen. So there is a give or take with it both. I really did trust my professors and they were like, I think you should. And I was like, okay. I look back and I'm like, if I didn't, I could have maybe worked a couple more places. Cause like when I started off auditioning in the city, I was like, if I was in equity, I probably could have maybe booked that, but everything happens for a reason. It's okay. But now I'm look back and I'm like, I'm glad I did because I got a lot of audition experience when I moved to the city because I could just be seen right away. My first year in the city, didn't book anything for a year, but I was in the rooms and I was getting really far. So I still felt like I was on the right path.
Yeah. Well, and it's good to hear too. I mean, I think there are some people out there who their dream is still, they're like, all I want is to get my card. And it still has its cons as well of not having it. So it's just like trusting that it's going to work out how it's supposed to, which is so funny now because your resume is so long. So it was a year well spent trying to book something. What was your first show after with your equity card? And then also, what was your favorite show enrolled?
So yeah, I got Wizard of Oz, got my equity card, moved to the city that August. This is 2015. Didn't work for a year, but then around full circle, I went back to the Fulton to do my third production of Billy Elliot.
Oh my God.
It
And
is
you were like,
kind
I
of
already know this inside and out.
correct. And I was equity, but a little sad story about the business. So that summer, I was doing Wizard of Oz. I was supposed to do Billy Elliot at a theater that I won't name. I even I came in on my day off because it was in Pennsylvania, came to New York. Taught the equity chorus calls for this show. No, I had not signed a contract, but it was kind of like, it's happening. And then a month out from it, my choreographer was like, hey, this theater, they want to hire more non-equity dancers. So they decided that your track is going to be non-equity. So I got like let go from this production that I was promised to do. So that was the first like, oh, this sucks.
Would you, hindsight now, ever do something like what did we learn from that?
What we learned, kids, is that you ask for a contract and you sign it. But at the time,
I get
I
it
was
though. Yeah. At the time, you're like,
I was
you just want to work.
and I remember that day I taught the chorus call with the theater producers, and they were so nice, and they were all on board, so I'm like, "It's fine." But now we learn, even if people are nice and kind, you gotta sign that contract, that's a business, but that
I
sucked.
was going to say, I think at the end of the day, we're so worried as the performers and as artists that we don't want to like burn bridges and we don't want to be too much. But the people you're working for are running a business, whether it's personal or
Mhm.
not. It just like we got to protect ourselves like they protect themselves.
But I
Yikes.
learned
Okay,
that lesson
sorry.
at 22. But then fast forward, so I didn't work for a year. I auditioned. I was working my day job, which is the only day job I've ever had, is LaDuca Shoes. Woo!
That's
So
so cool.
I haven't been there in a few years
That
now,
is a
but LaDuca has been like my place I can go back to. They've been so great to me. It's a great job to have, and everyone loves the LaDuca.
everyone loves them. Oh wow.
So yeah, long-winded. My first show post that was back Billy Elliot at the Fulton, which was great.
Oh my gosh, so full circle. You are currently obviously on a ship with Disney, and there's like literally, you guys, if I should like flash a picture of it. Your credits are like all these theaters and then like all these like Disney cruise lines. Did those overlap at all? Or what did that through line look like for you?
Yeah, like literally, if someone were to see my resume, I have like it is split in half between my regional theaters
Hmm.
and like my Disney stuff. Disney to me almost it's like yes, it's a cruise ship, but it feels like a theater company that happens to be on a ship. So I started my Disney journey in 2017 was the first time I booked. I did audition 7 times before they hired me, but that's another story. So that was 2017. I did my first and then I got off. They immediately offered me to replace on another ship. So I went there. And then from like 2017 to now, I could like map out my whole journey because in between there, I did some regional theater, but Disney kind of tends to always call me. I like to say yes because the money is fantastic. And especially nowadays, as theater is crazy and some of these equity tours pay less than what I'm making on Disney. And the shows are truly phenomenal. The technology we have on these stages are wild. And it's Disney and everyone loves a Disney show. I've gotten to play a lot of roles. Since 2017 to 2026, I'm on my 7th contract
God.
and I've done 4 different ships. So I've done a lot of shows.
Yeah, that is crazy. How long are the contracts? Are they normal cruise ship contracts?
We rehearsed for 2 months in Toronto, Canada, which is incredible. It's so much fun. And then we are on the ship for like 7 to 8-ish months.
It's interesting, Disney specifically. I feel like Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, it's more like dance performances. And it seems like the turnaround from rehearsal to stage is very fast. Would you say that you feel rushed at all, or there's time and care and energy put into the rehearsal process?
So we rehearsed for those 2 months and there's 3 main stage shows per ship. So we do like 2.5 weeks per show, which I was so used to because like regionally, that's kind of what you get. So you kind of rehearse for
And
2
your high
weeks.
school experience.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of focus on one show at a time and you move to the next one and you do the next one. And then before you leave rehearsals, you do like final runs of all of them. And then you get to the ship and you have 2 weeks of like basically tech rehearsal where you're crossing over with the other cast. And once you open, like you feel pretty like good to go. But you're also living on a ship, which is kooky crazy sometimes.
If you guys are watching the video, you have a beautiful room and you have a whole couch in your room. Like
Yes.
it doesn't look like a horror story around here, which we love to
No,
see.
it's nice.
I would
I
say
like
you
to
have your blue slate in the back.
Oh yeah, I like to DIY because these rooms are like blank walls. So if I'm living here for 7 months, I have to put up lights and
It
yeah.
needs to be homey. I do know you have like some other ship responsibilities. What
Mm.
does an actual like work week look like with both performing like amount of shows you have and then other random responsibilities that come with ship life?
Here in Disney, we do 3 main stage shows, so which are performed 3 nights a cruise. So in a week, we're on a 7-day itinerary. Not tonight, but tomorrow we do one of our shows, but we do it twice. So we do a 6 o'clock and an 8:30, and then we do that for all 3 shows. So we're doing 6 shows a week, but only on 3 nights. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really
So
nice. Love that.
and then on top of that, the main stage performers, we help out with our characters that you see around the ship. So if you're in line to go meet Mickey Mouse, we are there just like helping people take pictures and autographs. But we only have to do that for like a couple hours a week. It's really not that much. And it's also, it can be really fun. And you're just,
I was going to say that seems kind of fun to interact. Probably a lot of the people that came and saw you on stage. Do you think they know that you're performers or no?
oh, they know. Yeah, they know. That's like one of the responsibilities we have. And then ship life in general, no matter like what cruise line you're on, you have like safety duties, which is crazy that I'm like, I have a BFA musical theater and now I know how to save your life. What is happening? So I'm in charge of an assembly station. Like if we were sinking, the guests would go to their like safety station and I would get them onto a lifeboat. I do know how to do that.
It's me,
It's
Olaf. Let me get you
me
onto this boat into safety. I will melt, but it's going to be fine.
literally, yeah. So like throughout the week, sometimes we have to go to like to a safety class, but not all the time. But that's like, yeah, there's a lot of training that goes into that. But that's just like ship life, which you go into like you sign up, you're like, okay, I know I have to do that. But in a typical week, I only work maybe like 20-ish hours. So there is a lot of downtime, but also, as we know, even on land, when you're not doing a show, you're preparing to do that show. So you're at the gym and you're sleeping, and you're trying to take care of yourself. But also depends
That's
because I've
fantastic.
had itineraries where we're doing like the first half of this current contract I was in, we were doing 3 and 4 day itineraries. So in a 3 day cruise, we're doing all three of those shows. So in a 3 and 4 day, we were doing 12 shows a week. So it's giving
That's a lot different.
Radio City Christmas Spectacular.
It is. It's giving you need an ice bath on ship for sure. Okay, but we know range and you said you're well taken care of, which we love. How is being Olaf though right now? Because I feel like, don't take this the wrong way. I mean this in the best way because I'm like, you could probably put a lot of yourself like into the character. Like Olaf is like one of the best characters ever. Do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I love Olaf. This is also over all my contracts. This is the fourth time I've done Frozen. I've never been Olaf. I've never covered Olaf. And so this is the first time I got to do it. And it's been so fun because one, everyone already loves him. He's just written to be lovable. But I do bring a lot of myself because I want to think I'm lovable, but I'm also very silly and I try to keep a childlike aspect about my life. And thankfully, Disney has let me put in my own little jokes here and there, and the audience loves it. This is also the hardest puppet. I've done a lot of puppets for Disney Cruise Line. It's a skill that I've learned. But Olaf is very hard, and I feel like now at this point in my journey with Disney, it's like I've climbed a mountain of puppetry, and he is like the pinnacle. And it's hard, but it feels very like good to perform and do the role, but also mechanically maneuver this puppet, and it's all when it all works, it feels really good.
Why in my head, I assumed you were like in an Olaf costume. How big is this
No,
puppet?
he's like 3.5, 4 feet tall. If anyone were to see on social media or like a picture of it, I have my own costume and everything. I'm dressed in this little like, cute little blue snowy suit, and he attaches to the front of my body. So I'm maneuvering him. He's like sitting in front of me, attached to me.
Maybe in my head, like I saw that and was like, I skimmed and was like, oh yeah, that's you in a that's
I
so much
wish.
harder, I would imagine. You didn't know that Disney taught you how to do that?
Disney loves a puppet. So when I first came on board, literally, they kind of cast you, and then when you show up, they're like, oh, like you're going to be using this puppet, and we're gonna teach you. But they have the best people in the business. We have people who have like Emmy awards for working on like Sesame Street. Crazy, but they have so much
So
patience
cool.
because they get these musical theater people who've never touched a puppet, and these puppets are like, high end, best of the best, and they are hard.
They're not like the Sesame Street where like Elmo, I'm thinking like the like literal little one where it's like on like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the brick wall
Yeah,
and it's just like bopping around. It's like a full person essentially.
these are great, and I've done so many of them now because a lot of their roles, like I played Iago in Aladdin, which is like the little bird, and it was like a full
Mm-hmm.
puppet. So it's a special skill I never thought I'd have, but here I am. And like Olaf, I have a mechanism that blinks his eyes for his eyebrows, his mouth, his arms, but I also have to perform. It's kind of like you watch the show and you see me and make I'm acting, but you're also seeing this puppet, and then you just kind of in your brain you like mesh the two together. It's very strange, but
I
it's
didn't
doing
either.
that.
I was gonna ask, you don't have to like keep your mouth shut. Like, you know what I'm thinking like ventriloquist, is that the right word?
Oh,
Where they like, you can't move your mouth. You like get to full act with it. I'm like
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm
I
like
don't know
full
that,
acting. Oh my gosh, I would be an
Okay,
awful
love.
ventriloquist.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't enunciate well enough when I'm opening my mouth, so I don't even know how you could do it.
But that's what's crazy here with Disney is that like my big role here is Olaf in these shows, but then in the Golden Mickeys, which is like a review type show where it's like there's many different numbers, I'm full on doing like a ballet pas in one of the numbers. So you have to be like so well
So you are
rounded.
a ballerina.
We're faking it. But like I'm dancing. And then the next night I'm a little snowman. And then the next night it's you have to they hire such like a repertory company of actors who can just do it all. It's wild.
I mean, you have to be. You really, that is really inspiring. So, are you, when you're dance captaining for Disney, is it for one show or is it for all the shows?
For all of them. So I'm not
Big
currently the dance captain, but one of my contracts, I was the swing. So when you're hired to be, there's only one male swing, just one, and you cover all those three shows. And then as the dance captain, I was also the dance captain for those three shows. Yeah. So I covered
I
36
can't with that.
tracks. Yeah.
He said, okay,
36.
Radio City again, even though our swings
Right.
don't have to do 36 and they're all kind of similar, which sometimes is harder, but like lines,
It was,
movements, that's crazy.
and some of our swings differ, but because I am also a singer. I covered all the dancers, like all the dancers, and then I covered most of the singers and like certain lead roles as well. I covered so many people, and then on top of that, I was also the dance captain. It was a
Okay,
lot.
yeah, that's cool, I guess. That's really, you can do anything now, for real, actually, anything. Did
Did
it feel like it got easier ever?
I don't know. It was hard, and
That's okay.
I went on a lot, which was good, and my brain was kind of all over the place, but I was like, "Oh, I do know this." I would second guess myself and I'm like, "Oh, I actually do know what I'm doing." And being a leader was hard. That was my first time. I know I had like been an assistant before, but really being in the cast and then giving people notes, I didn't
Mhm.
love doing that, but I learned how to do it in like going back to what I said in the beginning, in like a professional way. Be like, here are the notes, but also I'm not going to be a tyrant. I'd be like, okay, guys, it looks a little messy, but we're going to fix it. It's going to be fine. Because I've seen dance captains be like that. And I'm like, oh, I respect them because they're giving the notes in a professional way, but also like, we're just dancing. It's going to be okay.
We're
So
just dancing. From a non-dance captain, from like a dancer perspective, when you're able to approach it that way, it just like creates this environment to where you can be better and like let loose, especially in the arts. It's not in like a soft way of like you have to be nice, but if it like felt intense and aggressive, it like usually gives the opposite effect of what you were trying to do, which you're trying to make everyone better. And then when people are just scared, they're like, or they don't respect you then because you're like, you're just being rude and I don't want to. Like, I always did the best for people, dance captains, directors, whoever, who were like, I see that they believe in me and that they love what they're doing. And like, that makes me want to do better for them, not out of fear of them too, which obviously I
one,
don't know who could be afraid of you.
I would hope not. Yeah, and I had an experience with a contract in my life where that was the tactic, was fear, and I actually left that contract because I felt so disrespected. So that was a big part of my journey too. I never ever want anyone to feel like that ever. So
Can we pivot from the lightness for that? Not to like, not in a
to the dark,
specifics way. Yeah, let's go to the dark. I'm sorry, Disney. Not we're going to the villain side for a second. But how are you able to navigate that situation?
I won't say who or where. Some people have figured it out, but I worked for a company also doing, sadly, my favorite show ever, The Wizard of Oz. It was weird. I always go into places feeling respected and loved and really happy. And from the beginning, I was like, something is off. Something doesn't feel right here. And it was a place that led with fear based tactics. They wanted you to feel scared. They wanted you to feel less than. This was one of the contracts. I started to speak my mind to be like, can you not talk to me that way? Can you not treat me this way? And a big thing, as we all know in the industry, which I think has gotten better, it's still not great, is body image. This place really cared about that. We had monthly pictures taken of our bodies that were sent to management. And I, by no means, look like Hercules, and I'm not a bigger person. I feel like I'm in shape because my body can do whatever, but also I will eat a full Domino's pizza. Like, whatever. So, no, I don't have abs, but does it matter? I don't think so. But a lot of comments were made about my body. Also, just my role in the show. I was told I was not important. I was told I didn't deserve the privileges I had. I was told, quote, I can't believe the audience applauds that loud for you. So I got to a point where I hated performing. The thing that I loved the most, I did not want to do. I felt scared going to work. I felt scared by the leadership because people were talking about me. They wanted to get me fired because I spoke my mind and I said these things are not right. They felt threatened. And on top of that scary issue, I 100% developed an eating disorder. I stopped eating just altogether. I didn't eat. I clocked it when in a span of like 2 days, the only thing I ate in 2 days was one protein bar over the span of like 48 hours. I was making myself sick. It was the whole, and I was like, oh, this is what that means. This is not just like you see this on TV. Like I clocked it. I said,
Yeah.
we have to stop. But when you're in those moments, you don't realize you're doing it because people have made you feel so horrible. So the end of the day, I was knocked down so bad and I lost all light. And the few friends I had on that contract, they were like, you're not Connor. Like you're not the fun, happy person we know. We're sad for you. So without telling anyone, well, HR also did not help me. They said they also kind of bullied me in a way. So on December 23rd of 2004, I packed my bags and I left that contract 7 months early. And it was the lowest I've ever felt, but it was also the most proud I felt of myself to be like, I will never be treated like this ever. I don't care if it's for a job. No one can ever treat me like this. And as you know, I'm sure in the
That takes a
arts,
lot.
I guess any business, you have to do your job, but people are afraid to speak up in the theater because you're going to be deemed as hard to work with. But if it is taking a toll on your body and your mind, no show, no paycheck is worth it. And I tell people that all the time.
No, it's such a real fear that people have. And I think the industry really loves the narrative that you're replaceable and that
hmm
you can't burn a bridge and you're never going to work again if you do things like that. But it's safe to say you've worked quite a bit since then, and it's probably
hmm
only helped you in the future, but it's so hard when you're in it because especially in those types of environments where it is so toxic, it's like that bubble of like you almost like lose sight of the outside world because to a normal person on the outside, like that's crazy that you didn't eat for 2 days, but when you're in an environment like that, it's just like almost like brainwashing in a way.
When you're in that environment and it's the people who are your leaders, it was my dance captains making comments about my body. One of them, which this was at like my lowest point, she'd pulled me aside and she was like, oh, we've been talking as a leaders and you've lost so much weight. You look so good now. And I was like, what you don't know is that because of your actions, I've lost so much weight in not a good way. It's a scary way. And also, why are you talking about my body? And also, why are those photos that you took on a personal device and not a company issued device? That's my little shade right there. But
That's crazy.
fine. I mean, yes, I burnt a bridge with that place. That's okay. But through the power of social media, I have talked about this issue. I've never said where it was, but I had a lot of people reach out to me because those videos have gotten some traction. And I've had discussions with people in my DMs being like, thank you for saying this. You're not alone. And it's been nice to connect with people over a not great topic, but I'm like, yeah, these things should be talked about because unfortunately it happens everywhere. And in the theater, it's like, well, if you speak out, exactly what you said, you can be replaced. And it's fear based and it's just not, it's icky and I don't like it. And unfortunately, we know it happens everywhere, but I just really wish it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big believer too in like the first step towards awareness and change is like literally talking about it and having those discussions and having to be like the brave person that is willing to share their story and make people feel less alone, which I could go like on and on about in that way. But it's a great transition into social media because you have a wide range of things. Do you feel like you have any fear of like future things you would book because of posting those things, or you don't have that fear, or you do and you're just like, I don't care because it's important?
Yes to all of it. And that specific issue, I have like, of all the videos I make on social media, it is like a 1% of the videos. I have like developed somewhat of a small following on social media, and I love to make people laugh, and that's what I normally do. But if I have a platform, it could be a
Small
lot
following. Okay.
small.
Well,
But
everything could be a lot, we could say that every day,
sure.
but or about anything.
But I also was like, well, if I have a platform, I want to talk about this because it is important. And if that issue particularly is a reason someone didn't want to hire me, then I really don't think I want to work with those people because they probably would do that to me too. But
Period. Yep.
but I think on the whole, social media for me, it is super fun, and people, I also get messages every day of like, thank you, like your videos are so funny and I look forward to them. So that's also nice. So yeah, on the whole, I wouldn't be too scared. But like I said, if a theater was worried about that or a company was worried about me speaking out, then I'm like, I think you have some self-reflection to do because why would you be nervous? Do you treat people that way? I'm just holding
Yeah,
up a
we're gonna leave it
mirror
at
to
that because I
people,
couldn't agree more.
right?
Projecting a little bit. With that being said, what was your why to start posting on social media? And were you scared or like nervous to start posting? Because I think that's a lot of people's fear, whether they're dancers, performers, or not.
COVID happened and we were all sitting around. And so that's when I downloaded TikTok because I know it had existed, but I downloaded it and that, like everyone else, we were doing nothing, just scrolling. And like I had seen some other theater people make funny videos and I was like, I could maybe do that. So I just started making up silly skits, and
I'm kind
that's
of
where
funny.
I'm kind of funny and I'm so bored. It kind of started from there. Throughout the years, like the traction grew and people like I'm such a theater nerd. And I feel like so many things people can relate to. And I loved that. And I was like, we've all done shows with crazy people. We've all done shows in community theater. We've taken that dance classic. We all have a shared experience where I'm like, I can talk about that. What we do is so silly crazy. We sing and dance and dress up. Like, I have to make fun of it.
It's not that
And
deep, right?
it's not that deep. And I'm sure there's people out there who have seen my videos and are like, this guy's annoying. But on the whole, I have found that people are like, this is so relatable. It's funny. And I'm a performer, so I love the applause. I love a like. But I do love when people are like, because I love as a friend making people laugh. I love that. It's my favorite thing. So if I can do that through a screen, I also love that too. And it also gives me a little hobby to be like, oh, here's a silly idea. Let me throw my camera up and make a silly video and put it out there. And what is weird to me is like I'm in my room making a video and I post it and then I see the numbers on the video, but I forget that those mean people sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah.
have a wig on my head and like things taped to my face. And I'm like, oh, 7 million people saw that. Good, good, good. Okay, so this is why I'll always be single because
As
people
if
are
they
like,
don't see
he's
you doing
crazy.
that.
Like my
Like as if
friends
you
in my
don't do that
real
for
life.
a living anyways, but
Also,
no, the real friends, that is the problem.
also true.
Yeah, but it's also a little different when it's like 7 million strangers versus I don't know how many people are on a ship, but certainly not that many on a
Mhm.
ship seeing you do it for a paycheck. Speaking of a paycheck, what kinds of opportunities, if any, have you had that you maybe weren't expecting from posting on social media?
Not a ton, actually. I've gotten to do like a couple like brand deals, which is really cool. Last year, I did a brand deal with a sunglass company that did a Wicked collab. And anyone who knows me, Wicked is everything is my ride or die. So I was like, fierce. I was like, I'll take free sunglasses, but I got paid and I was like,
Aligned.
this was fun. But
Speaking of Wicked, how many times, for people that don't know, have you seen it?
I'm saying this as I have a Glinda wand in the background that I made for Halloween.
She's there.
I have seen Wicked on stage 72 times.
Do you want to think about how much money that is in tickets? Or no?
I will
Maybe we
say,
shouldn't think about that.
also, full circle, I saw the original Broadway cast at 10 years old in 2003. So that's 72 times over 23 years. But I'm really good at winning the Broadway lotteries, like the online lotteries. I'm really good at winning them. I don't know
Never
how.
won. I haven't really. I've tried though. I haven't really. I say that as if I like tried often, but I think I got discouraged after I didn't win like 2 times. But I do think people win, and maybe that was just like the universe calling you to that.
I see everything And I will see if when I'm in New York, I'll see like 4 to 5 shows a week. I'm a theater nerd. So most of my friends know if I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" They're like, "What show did you win tickets to?"
You're the friend to be with, though.
Yeah, come on, I have to hook up. But Wicked, a lot of those times is because I won the lottery. So it was also luck, but I don't wanna know how much money I spent. It's a lot, but I
It's
love
okay. That's
it.
not money comes and goes. It doesn't matter. Yeah, money
And
can't
then
buy
I
happiness, except it can
nope,
in tickets. But
it can in the form of a Wicked ticket, and I'll be happy.
I love that. Did the Wicked birthday tradition start first? Like, or was it like a one-time thing that turned into like something? I didn't ask that well, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so anyone who does not know, you can go on social media. For my birthday now, I've done it 5 years in a row. I do a full reading and sing through of Wicked, like a table read that you would do, like, in rehearsal.
It looked like when I would watch videos, I was like, wait, it took me a second. I was like, is this just from a rehearsal? Like, what's going on? Like, it
It
looks like a
is
full rehearsal.
basically, yeah. I had a friend who had done something in the city, like, they got their friends together, they, like, drank wine, and they, like, quote, unquote, "did a show," just, like, reading the script and singing the songs. And then one year, I was on a Disney ship, and I was like, "I don't wanna just, like, go to the bar for my birthday. What can I do?" And I'm like, "Wait, this is so Connor coded." I was like, "We're gonna do Wicked." So I got the script offline, and then I've made, like, not just karaoke tracks, like, I have blended, like, the original Broadway cast with karaoke tracks with underscoring that I've gotten from the deep dark web. Like, I have the entire score of Wicked, like, underscoring of, like, scene work all on my computer, like, press play. I have the whole show. Every year I do it. Yeah, I've done it a few times on ships because 'cause I've been on a ship. I've done it in New York. I did it in Toronto one year. Of course, it's, like, for me and it's my thing, but it's become a birthday tradition that I do this, and it is so much fun for everyone because it's just, like, it's different than going to, like, a bar. You're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a full Broadway musical, but we're gonna have some drinks," but people take it so seriously as well. But through the
No,
years, it's
I
gotten
really thought it was a real rehearsal.
well, and I only play Elphaba or Glinda. I switch off every year. This past year was Glinda. I have my wigs literally in this closet right here.
Oh my, I mean, as you should, but maybe like for the next, I don't know, you've done it 5 years?
I've done it in total 6 times, but for my birthday, I've done it 5 years in a row.
For like either a milestone like time you do it or a milestone birthday, like maybe you need to rent a stage.
Well,
Maybe you could sell
every year
tickets. Like I don't
it gets like, I've been lucky that this year I was on a ship that we did it in a venue that had, like, lighting and stuff, but every year the production value just goes up more and more, and every year I'm like, "I have to top myself," and then I put it on social
yeah.
media and people are like, "Oh my god, this is my favorite thing I looked forward to every year." It's so much fun, and it's like I'm, like, happy I came up with
Oh,
this.
yeah. You're just spreading the joy on it's just so good. When you're posting on social media, Wicked aside, do you hold yourself accountable or like have any expectations when it comes to posting? I feel like people don't fully understand what goes into making a video, even if it seems like it's silly. Do you feel like you have a cadence or do you put a pressure on yourself to post a certain amount or what is your relationship with that?
I literally was talking about this last night, is that I think social media is so fun and I love doing it, but as a following has grown, I do feel this pressure, and the pressure is definitely all coming from myself because I've gained more people. I have to keep it up because or they're going to go away and I have to make this one funnier than the last one. But I recognize that and I do put pressure on myself, but even like filming a video, I edit it in a way and I'm like, "Oh, I have to cut away at this point to make that joke seem funnier." It gets all like a I mean, it is like kind of like performing on stage. I'm like, oh, if I do it like this, I'll get a laugh, which means on social media, I know people will laugh at it and they'll like it. I'm trying my best to be like, if I don't have an idea, I don't have an idea. And it's okay. If one pops to my head, I don't have to have a video every day. Social media can be as we all know, really fun, great thing, but can also, it isn't real. Like, it's not reality. I do put a pressure on myself to put stuff out there because I know it brings people joy, and I love that, but I'm also like, "Oh gosh, I'm not funny today, I have nothing to say."
You're like, gosh, I didn't get the same amount of likes. It is hard to
Oh,
sort of like detach yourself a little bit. Do you ever feel like sometimes being a performer ever hinders how you're able to show up in that way, in an authentic way? Because sometimes for me, I'm like thinking almost too hard about how I'm saying things or how I'm formatting something because we have that like perfectionism in it. And especially for something like social media, because we're used to going on stage and we don't see it and we forget about it. But when you can like play something back, it can be daunting in a way.
Oh, yeah. Like, when I make my videos, it's almost like self-tape auditions where you're like, "Oh, I don't like that. I sounded weird." I will redo the same video so many times, and it's funny, I'll post a video that I'm like, "I don't think this was the funniest," and it will get a great reaction. I'm like, "Okay." And then I post
Every
something, and I'm
time.
like, "This is so funny. I'm a comedic genius. I should be on SNL." Less than 1,000 views, and I'm like, "What the okay."
Crickets.
But but as we all know, social media is truly I don't even the algorithm, I don't know what that is. I don't know how it works, and I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. I don't know. I just think it's cool that you're able to express yourself in that way and like do it in a lighthearted way so that when you do bring light to serious things, I don't know. I love your page and I think that I mean I wouldn't have found you, if it weren't for your social media. Like I was like,
Mhm.
oh, hey, in a non-monetary way. I've been thinking about that a lot. How oftentimes as performers it's drilled into us like you can't work for free, you can't do this. Where I do agree with that. I think that we sometimes forget that there are a lot of things that are honestly more, at least to me, more valuable than monetary things.
I'm just putting out there right now, I I've made money technically. I have made literally like like pennies. So I'm like, I'm not really making money from social media. I really do it for fun. And I appreciate you saying that like I do try to put lightheartedness out there. And if there is a serious topic, I can talk about it, but I'll put it in my Connor type way. Also, your social media is so beautiful. Like your graphics and everything is
Thanks.
it's so aesthetic. I'm like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, because I'm crazy. That's to a fault, but thank you. I do put a lot of time into it. It's hard. I'm gonna ask you your last questions that everyone gets asked. I know that hindsight is 2020, but if you could go back and tell younger Connor one thing, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, also crazy. I was talking about this yesterday too. I would tell my younger self to just lighten up a little bit. I think we talked about earlier in the podcast is that I had a good personality, but in rehearsal, I was so focused on being perfect. Where now I'm like, oh, I can do a good job and I can strive to for perfection, but I can also have a personality. I can be a fun person to work with in the room. So I'd be like, little Connor, just take a deep breath. Everyone respects you. You're gonna be okay. Just have fun and don't be so
Take a
hard on
deep
yourself.
Take a breath. It's not that deep. I love that. If there
No.
was one key takeaway you wanted listeners to remember from this conversation, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Also that just to take a deep breath and also have we love what we do. We are the one career that our hobby is also our job, and it's sometimes hard to differentiate between the two, but like I'm such a theater nerd. I love theater so much, and I'm so privileged that we get to do this, but I'm like, just enjoy it because so many people, I think it turns into a job for them, and I'm like, "Do you remember, like, why you did this? Like, why do you love this so much?" Like, I'm still that 10-year-old theater kid, and that's what I want everyone to be a big nerd like me so I don't feel weird.
We're all nerds at heart. Just be weird and yeah, I
Just
love
be
that. Just like
just let it
when it gets
out.
too serious, just be fun. I'm inspired. I want to be more fun.
Yeah.
That's actually been
You
my
are
thing lately too.
fun.
I'm like, thanks. I'm like, I need to remember that I'm fun and well, anyways, not about me, but we've already plugged it enough, but where can everyone pull out their phones right in this moment as they're listening and go follow you on all of the socials and I will link it in the show notes.
I'm at Conor DeVoe, CONOR, just the one N. Yeah, on Instagram and on the TikTok.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Thank you for inspiring us and sharing all of the fun secrets that are not really secrets, but you guys comment what you loved about this episode or didn't love, although what could you possibly not love? Because Connor's great at everything. Subscribe, follow him, and thanks for kicking it with us. Well, see you next time.